Welcome to Roya. It began with a love story the world could hardly believe. An Australian marketing executive met a Danish prince in a Sydney pub. It sounds like the beginning of a fairy tale, or perhaps a Netflix drama. But for millions, it was real. And now, after 2 decades of devotion, duty, and quiet strength, that love story has reached a stunning new chapter. Today, we mark the first anniversary of Queen Mary and King Frederik's reign, a milestone that not only defines a new royal age for Denmark, but also showcases the enduring power of love, modern monarchy, and national unity in a world increasingly divided. But what really happened in their first year on the throne? What symbols of love, strategy, and subtle royal revolution emerged as Mary and Frederik reshaped Denmark's monarchy from the inside out? And why is the world watching this couple more closely than ever? Stay with us, because this isn't just a royal recap. This is the story of how Queen Mary became Denmark's secret weapon, and how King Frederik's vulnerability turned into strength. You won't want to miss the final chapter. On January 14, 2024, a moment of royal history quietly unfolded across the cobblestone streets of Copenhagen. Without fanfare or grand ceremony, Queen Margrethe II, Denmark's longest reigning monarch and one of Europe's most admired queens, made a deeply personal and surprising choice. She abdicated. It was the first abdication in Denmark in nearly 900 years. And it wasn't just political, it was maternal. Queen Margrethe, then 83, had faced a year of major health challenges, including back surgery and limited mobility. But instead of retreating into illness or waiting until the very end of life to pass the crown, as many royals have done, she chose love. She chose legacy. And she chose to give Denmark a fresh start. Enter King Frederik X and Queen Mary, crowned not in a cathedral, but in the hearts of their people, standing together at the royal balcony overlooking a sea of waving flags, red hearts, and emotional tears. It was a moment when history bowed to the future. In the world of royalty, actions speak louder than jewels. And in their first year as king and queen, Mary and Frederik did not merely wear their titles, they symbolized them. From the very beginning, their reign was built on gesture, unity, and emotional authenticity. Let's start with that balcony kiss, a spontaneous, heartfelt moment shared just minutes after being declared king and queen. The kiss wasn't just a symbol of affection, it was a declaration of modern monarchy. That kiss told the world, this reign will be ruled by partnership. Then came Queen Mary's first public appearance in the iconic Danish ruby pearl tiara, a powerful message of strength and continuity. This was the same tiara worn by Queen Ingrid, Mary's grandmother-in-law, and it signified not just elegance, but heritage and maternal grace. But it was the little things that really told the story, a single red rose handed to a crying child during a public walkabout. Frederik placing his hand gently at Mary's back as she stepped down from a stage. The couple's matching embroidered monograms stitched side by side on official correspondence. Queen Mary's use of Danish sign language during a speech for Inclusion Week. These symbols of love, quiet but powerful, told Danes in the world, we see you, we're listening, and we love this nation as much as you do. Tradition matters in monarchy, but so does evolution. And if there's one word that defined Mary and Frederik's first year on the throne, it was modernization. Forget golden thrones and divine rights. The new king and queen set a tone that was uniquely Danish, humble, open, and quietly revolutionary. Let's look at just a few examples. The Palace Open Door series. Within 6 months, Queen Mary spearheaded a program that invited ordinary Danish citizens into rooms of Amalienborg Palace that had never before been seen by the public. Guided tours led by students. Open mic nights. Royal historians giving talks. It felt less like Versailles, more like home. Green Denmark Initiative. King Frederik, a lifelong environmentalist, launched a joint royal governmental partnership focusing on climate solutions and ocean preservation. This wasn't just photo ops, it included policy briefings, marine biology conferences, and even royal funding for green startups. Digital royalty. Their social media presence became a national talking point. Not just because it was beautifully curated, but because it was personal. A behind-the-scenes photo of Frederik carrying his youngest child's backpack. A clip of Mary laughing during an outtake of a national message. Their online presence became, well, human. And perhaps most radically, they shortened the royal titles used at formal events. No more long-winded royal name ceremonies. They began using just King Frederik and Queen Mary. It might sound minor, but in Danish culture, which prizes informality and approachability, it was a masterstroke. So how did Danes really respond to this new era? According to polls conducted 6 months into their reign, 79% of Danes said they felt more connected to the monarchy now than in previous decades. Young adults, long considered skeptical of royalty, showed the sharpest increase in approval. The reason? Transparency. And, in their words, Mary. Indeed, Queen Mary emerged as the face of the monarchy, embodying both tradition and fresh energy. Her story resonated deeply. She wasn't born royal. She worked for a living. She lost her mother young. She navigated cultural barriers and fierce press scrutiny with quiet dignity. She's not just our queen, one Danish woman said during a street interview. She's our sister, our neighbor, our friend. Meanwhile, King Frederik, long known for his sensitive, soulful personality, also saw a rise in public respect. Critics who once mocked him for not being commanding enough now praised his emotional intelligence, humility, and strength of partnership. As one editorial put it, Frederik doesn't need to roar to be a lion. He leads by lifting his queen. The global monarchy landscape is shifting, and Denmark suddenly finds itself at the center of attention. As British royalty continues to be rocked by scandals and health challenges, and Sweden maintains a quieter, more traditional monarchy, the spotlight has turned to Copenhagen. Why? Because the Danish model, under Mary and Frederik, is increasingly being cited as a blueprint for 21st century royalty. International media has covered them extensively. The Guardian called Queen Mary a masterclass in modern monarchy. The New York Times featured their coronation year as a case study in regal realism. Even Hollywood began taking notes, with rumored interest in dramatizing their life story on screen. Diplomatically, they also stepped into larger roles. Queen Mary led a UN panel on women's health in Geneva, where she gave a speech so moving it was shared 12 million times across platforms. King Frederik hosted NATO climate talks, blending military policy with climate science, a rare and impactful combination. No royal reign is complete without a look at legacy, and that includes their children. Queen Mary and King Frederik are parents to 4 children, Prince Christian heir to the throne, Princess Isabella, Prince Vincent and Princess Josephine, the royal twins. Their parenting style is another reason the Danish monarchy feels fresh. Unlike the distant royal upbringings of the past, Mary and Frederik have emphasized emotional openness, privacy where needed, and real-world education. Christian, for instance, recently worked as a camp counselor during his summer break, not a royal duty, but a normal teenage job. Isabella attended public high school before transitioning to a program focused on diplomacy. The twins are often seen participating in sports competitions, school plays, and art exhibitions. In the media, this approach is being hailed as Scandi-style royalty, firm, but grounded in family values and shared national identity. When historians look back at the first year of Queen Mary and King Frederik's reign, it will not be the royal protocols or palace events they focus on. It will be the symbols. Everything, from Mary's choice of outfits to their subtle body language, became part of a larger story. Queen Mary's brooches, for instance, weren't just accessories. Each piece she wore held historic weight, some linked to Queen Ingrid, others to Princess Benedict. One memorable moment was during a charity gala when Mary wore the star-shaped Order of the Elephant, Denmark's most revered honor, positioned just below her heart. It was a nod to loyalty, honor, and royal responsibility. King Frederik, too, leaned into symbolism. A photo of him alone in the royal library reading Queen Margrethe's old journals stirred quiet emotion across Denmark. A handwritten note left at a memorial for climate victims in Greenland made headlines for its rawness and honesty. In their joint appearances, the couple often used touch as a language. A clasped hand here, a guiding palm there. To the Danish people, it wasn't just romantic, it was a visual contract. We are in this together. With each other, and with you. Mary and Frederik knew from the start that modern monarchs must walk a tightrope, honor tradition, but stay relevant. One of their earliest tests came during the restructuring of royal titles. Following Queen Margrethe's controversial decision to strip 4 of her grandchildren of princely titles in 2022, Frederik and Mary had to clarify their stance. Instead of reverting or doubling down, they made a compromise. They modernized the language used around the royal family, emphasizing roles over titles. They introduced the concept of working royals and private royals, a model that allowed family members to maintain dignity without being burdened by public duty. In education, they introduced reforms to royal education protocols. No longer would heirs be trained behind palace walls alone. Prince Christian enrolled in military leadership academies, but also did social work internships. Isabella joined an environmental initiative in Iceland, following in her father's footsteps. Queen Mary also worked closely with Danish institutions to introduce multicultural representation in royal events. Danish Somali youth choirs performed at state dinners. Greenlandic poets were invited to speak. It was a clear message. The monarchy is no longer a mirror, it's a window. It may seem glamorous, but royal life, especially in a constitutional monarchy like Denmark's, is relentless. The king and queen are more than figureheads. They are ambassadors, strategists, advocates, and sometimes, therapists for a nation's grief. In their first year alone, Mary and Frederik attended over 300 official engagements, visited 11 international countries on state and goodwill tours, held 23 closed-door meetings with Danish ministers and global dignitaries, participated in multiple emergency briefings, including those related to climate disasters in Greenland and international refugee crises. Queen Mary, in particular, was praised for her tireless dedication to mental health advocacy, women's rights, and children's welfare. She launched a royal report on postpartum depression and hosted a global summit on gender equality attended by leaders from 40 countries. King Frederik juggled national defense strategy meetings with visits to fishing towns devastated by economic downturn. He didn't just wave from balconies, he sat at round tables with local leaders and union reps. A palace insider reportedly told Danish media, "They never stop. If the public knew how many hours they worked behind the scenes, they'd be stunned." Perhaps the most defining moment of their first year came not from within Denmark, but from the world stage. In late 2024, as diplomatic tensions escalated across several European borders, Denmark was asked to serve as a neutral facilitator for urgent peace talks. The government, while the official negotiator, leaned heavily on its royal couple to serve as soft power hosts. Queen Mary welcomed leaders with warmth and grace, while King Frederik facilitated informal discussions that led to a surprise bilateral agreement. The couple didn't sign treaties, but their calm, trustworthy presence helped create an atmosphere of dignity and cooperation. International observers were struck by how respected the Danish royals had become, not as celebrities but as moral anchors. That same month, a deadly natural disaster in the North Atlantic left thousands homeless. While world leaders sent statements, Mary and Frederik boarded a royal vessel and arrived with aid within 48 hours. Mary comforted grieving families. Frederik coordinated with relief workers. It was monarchy in motion. As one global headline read, "When the world cried, Denmark's royals answered." At the heart of it all, the headlines, the history, the diplomacy, is a love story that refuses to fade. Mary and Frederik celebrated 21 years of marriage during their first year as monarchs. They did so with a quiet dinner, a shared glance, and later, a public appearance holding hands, under no obligation to, but choosing to show the nation, "We're still us." Insiders say the couple still leave handwritten notes for each other, hidden in books and desks. They share early morning walks around the palace gardens. They argue sometimes, just like anyone, but always in private, and always with respect. Their children often describe their parents as best friends first, royals second. That authenticity, that mutual affection, is what makes their monarchy not just admired, but beloved. In a world weary of institutions and tired of tradition for tradition's sake, this couple reminds us that leadership grounded in real love, shared purpose, and humility is not only possible, it's powerful. As Queen Mary and King Frederik complete their first year on the Danish throne, they are not resting. Far from it, plans are underway for a historic Greenland royal tour, including environmental research sites, a collaboration with the Vatican on humanitarian aid, a royal education reform roundtable, A national celebration of the Danish Constitution's 175th anniversary, led personally by Queen Mary. They've also made clear their commitment to staying grounded. They plan to continue living at Amalienborg Palace and keeping their children in Denmark's educational system. The monarchy will not drift into glamour. It will stay anchored in Danish values, equality, dignity, and simplicity. And as Queen Mary said during her New Year's message, a crown is not worn on the head alone, it is carried by the heart, lifted by love, and held by the people. So here we are. 1 year, 2 hearts, and an entire kingdom transformed by quiet grace, powerful love, and purposeful leadership. Queen Mary and King Frederik didn't just survive their first year, they defined it. But as the world watches their next moves, with expectations rising and global crises looming, one question remains: can the couple who gave Denmark a new royal heartbeat also give the world a new kind of monarchy? Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.